Did you know that there are radioactive trees in Colorado? Or that there's a mountain that's been creeping downhill for centuries? How about the fact that the state is home to the largest flat-topped mountain on Earth? Well, the Centennial State is way more than just mountains and ski resorts. So buckle up because we're about to dive into 50 of the wildest, weirdest, and most mind-blowing facts about Colorado that you probably never knew. Fact 50: Pinkerton's multicolored hot spring. Right off Highway 550 near Durango, there's a spot where nature went full artist mode. And it's totally free to see. Pinkerton Hot Springs is a strange, colorful mound where hot water bubbles up from underground and leaves behind layers of bright minerals. Over time, these minerals build up into a weird crayon melt-looking pile of oranges, reds, and yellows. It's like the Earth's version of a lava lamp that never turns off. But here's the catch. While it looks awesome, the water isn't safe to touch. The EPA says just enjoy the view. No climbing, no dipping your toes. This is one of those wild places where you just stand back and let nature show off. Fact 49: Colorado's sleeping giant. Here's something most people don't know. Colorado has a volcano, and not some ancient extinct one either. It's still considered active. It's called Dinosaur Crater, and it's near the town of Gypsum. It last erupted about 3,800 to 5,500 years ago, which might sound like a long time, but geologically, that's super recent. The crater is about 2,460 feet wide and was once over 1,300 feet deep. Today, erosion has worn it down to about 250 feet, but it's still a massive reminder that Colorado isn't all peaceful peaks and hiking trails. Scientists keep an eye on Dinosaur just in case it decides to wake up again. So yes, Colorado has a volcano, and it's not just some forgotten relic. Fact 48: the mountain that just won't stay put. Just outside Lake City, Colorado, there's a slow-motion landslide that's been creeping downhill for centuries. And it has one of the weirdest names you'll ever hear: the Slumgullion Earth Flow. About 700 years ago, part of a mountain gave way and slid down into the valley, blocking a river and accidentally creating Lake San Cristobal. But the wild part? It's still moving. A second slide, which started around 300 years ago, continues to inch downhill at about 20 feet per year. It bends trees, cracks roads, and shifts the land as it goes, like a giant creeping soup made of loose volcanic rock. That's actually where it gets its name. Slumgullion was an old slang word for a chunky stew, and geologists thought it looked about the same. In short, it's proof that even mountains can't always stay put. Fact 47: the Two-Mouthed Canyon. Unaweep Canyon in western Colorado might be one of the strangest canyons on Earth because it drains in both directions. That's right, one stream, Little Dolores Creek, flows west. The other, East Creek, flows east. It's the only known canyon in the world where water exits at both ends. It's like nature built a road with two exits pointing in opposite directions and just rolled with it. Geologists have studied Unaweep for years, but they still don't fully agree on how it formed. Some say glaciers played a role, others think ancient rivers carved it out. What they do agree on? It's rare, it's real, and it completely breaks the usual rules of how canyons are supposed to work. Fact 46: Paradox Valley's Upside Down River. Welcome to Paradox Valley in southwest Colorado, where the Dolores River apparently skipped Geography 101. Most rivers flow along valleys, following the path of least resistance, but not the Dolores River. It cuts across the valley, going east to west, straight through tall sandstone walls. Like, it couldn't care less about the rules. So how did this happen? Long ago, a huge underground salt dome collapsed, messing up the land. Instead of going around the newly formed cliffs, the Dolores River just powered straight through, carving a shortcut right across the valley floor. It's one of the only places in the world where a river crosses a valley like this and doesn't follow it. Basically, nature said, why take the long way when you can just punch through the middle? Fact 45: the world's saltiest cold spring. Paradox Valley strikes again with another geological oddity: the world's saltiest cold springs that make the ocean look like a kid's pool. These underground salt factories leak briny groundwater at roughly 20% salt content, which is about 7 times saltier than seawater. That's basically liquid salt with a splash of water for flavor. These natural salt wells dump an astounding 100,000 to 200,000 tons of salt annually into the Dolores River, enough to supply every McDonald's French fry operation for decades. The salt load became such a problem for downstream Colorado farms that engineers had to stage an intervention, pumping the brine 14,000 feet underground to keep it from turning agricultural fields into Dead Sea replicas. Fact 44. La Ventana, a volcanic lava arch. In Saguache County, La Ventana offers a geological hide-and-seek game millions of years in the making. Essentially, a lava window that nature forgot to close. This isn't your typical sandstone arch. This 40-foot high and 30-foot wide window was carved directly inside a solid volcanic dam. Here's the wild backstory. Eons ago, magma muscled its way into a crack in the earth and cooled into solid rock. Then erosion played architect, punching a perfect hole through the hardened lava flow. The result? A genuine volcanic doorway standing in the wilderness like nature's own portal to nowhere. While most arches are carved from sandstone, La Ventana literally gives you a window into the fiery guts of an ancient lava flow. Fact 43. Fluorescent giant fossil redwoods. At Fluorescent Fossil Beds National Park in Colorado, you can walk through the remains of a forest that's been frozen in time for over 34 million years. Massive, petrified redwood stumps, some up to 14 feet wide, still stand where they once grew. Back then, this area was a warm, humid forest filled with giant redwoods. More like today's California coast than the Colorado we know now. Then, out of nowhere, a nearby volcano erupted and covered the entire forest in ash. That sudden blast preserved the trees almost instantly, turning them into stone over time. Today, these fossilized trunks are still standing, like ancient statues, and they're so big they make cars look small. It's a powerful reminder that Colorado once looked completely different. Fact 42. Earth's largest insect graveyard. Fluorescent Fossil Beds isn't just famous for its giant petrified trees. It also holds one of the best collections of fossilized insects anywhere on Earth. More than 60,000 insect fossils have been found here, representing over 1,100 different species. We're talking about ancient dragonflies with wingspans bigger than your hand, plus butterflies, ants, beetles, and more, all perfectly preserved in layers of shale. These bugs were trapped in volcanic ash 34 million years ago, and the fine sediments helped capture every tiny detail. It's like nature created its own bug museum frozen in time. For scientists who study insects, this place is a gold mine. Every rock has the potential to reveal a creature that hasn't been seen in millions of years. Fact 41. Paint Mines Rainbow Clays. The paint mines near Callan, Colorado look like something out of a dream, or maybe another planet. This maze of colorful gullies, spires, and hoodoos is striped with bright reds, purples, yellows, and whites. It's like the land itself was painted by hand. What creates these wild colors? A mix of iron oxide, manganese, and bentonite clay, minerals that have been blending together over millions of years. The result is a natural rainbow of rock layers that almost doesn't look real. It's one of the most unique environments in the state, and walking through it feels more like visiting an alien art gallery than hiking the Colorado Plains. Fact 40. Great Sand Dunes Boogie. The Great Sand Dunes in southern Colorado aren't just the tallest in the world, they can sing too. When dry sand slides down the steep slopes of the dunes, it creates a strange, low rumbling sound, almost like a deep hum or distant thunder. It's called booming sand, and it happens when the grains are just the right size and dry enough to move all at once. People say you can hear it from miles away, like the dunes have their own natural sound system. It's so unique that even singer Bing Crosby recorded a song in the 1940s called The Singing Sands of Alamosa. Fact 39. When Mother Nature plays hardball, literally. When it comes to hail, Colorado doesn't play around. On August 12, 2019, a giant hailstone slammed into the town of Bethune, and it was one for the record books. It measured 4.83 inches across and weighed 8.5 ounces. That's about the size of a softball, but made of solid ice falling from the sky at over 100 miles an hour. This wasn't just a little summer hailstorm. It was like getting hit by a frozen cannonball. And when weather alerts say take cover, this is exactly why. In Colorado, the sky sometimes throws fastballs, and you don't want to be outside when it does. Fact 38. 200 plus mile per hour alpine wind. On February 28, 1981, Long's Peak in Colorado recorded a wind gust of 201 miles per hour. Yes, you heard that right. That kind of wind is usually only found inside tornadoes. At 14,259 feet up, it's like the mountain turned into a giant wind tunnel. Winds that strong can knock over trees, rip gear right off of hikers, and even toss full-grown humans across the rocks. Colorado's high peaks are beautiful, but the weather up there can be absolutely brutal. When the winds kick in, it's not just strong, it's dangerous. Fact 37. Mile High State, Mile High City. Everyone knows Denver is the Mile High City, but here's the truth. Almost all of Colorado lives way up in the sky. The state's average elevation is 6,800 feet above sea level. That's over 1.2 miles high, making it the highest state in the entire country. Even Colorado's lowest point, at the Arickaree River, is 3,315 feet up, higher than the tallest point in 18 other states. That's why people from lower elevations often feel out of breath when they visit. Water bottles swell, workouts feel harder, and the air just feels thinner, because it is. Fact 36. La Garita Caldera, a super eruption. About 28 million years ago, southwestern Colorado decided to show the world what a real volcanic eruption looks like. La Garita Caldera unleashed the largest known volcanic blast in Earth's history, making Mount St. Helens look like a firecracker at a fireworks show. This geological rage quit produced the Fish Canyon Tuff, roughly 5,000 cubic kilometers of ash that's about 5,000 times more violent than Mount St. Helens' 1980 eruption. This VEI-8 supervolcano literally carpet-bombed 11,000 square miles with ash, creating one of the planet's most impressive scars. To put that in perspective, this ancient Colorado blow-up was so massive that it could have buried the entire state of Maryland under several feet of volcanic debris. Fact 35. Black Canyon's lethal drop. The Black Canyon of the Gunnison isn't here for gentle curves or wide views. It's all about steep, intense drops. While the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon drops about 7 feet per mile, the Gunnison River in Black Canyon plunges an average of 43 feet per mile. In its steepest stretch, it drops a jaw-dropping 240 feet in a single mile. That's like falling off a 24-story building every mile the river flows. The most iconic feature? The Painted Wall, a massive cliff that stands 2,250 feet, taller than 2 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other. Fact 34. Colorado's tallest cliff. As you may know by now, Painted Wall is the crown jewel of the Black Canyon, and one of the most jaw-dropping cliffs in all of Colorado. Again, it towers 2,250 feet above the Gunnison River, over half a mile of straight vertical rock. But here's the wild part. The cliff isn't just massive, it's ancient. The rock it's made from is 1.7 billion years old. That's older than dinosaurs, older than mountains, older than oxygen in Earth's atmosphere. So when you're looking at Painted Wall, you're literally staring at some of the oldest exposed rock on the planet, a piece of Earth's deep history that's been around since long before life as we know it even began. Fact 33. Ancient living sentinels, bristlecone pines. Hidden in Colorado's remote alpine groves live some seriously ancient residents. Rocky Mountain bristlecone pines have been casually defying death since before Jesus was born. The state's oldest confirmed bristlecone has been growing for over 2,500 years, meaning this tree was already middle-aged when the Roman Empire was just getting started. While civilizations rose and fell, this battered survivor just kept adding rings and minding its own business at high altitude. Colorado doesn't mess around with old trees either. The state hosts 14 bristlecones over 1,600 years old, with 4 ancient champions exceeding 2,100 years. Fact 32. Prehistoric Dinosaur Highway, picket wire tracks. In southeast Colorado, there's a place where you can literally walk in the footsteps of dinosaurs. It's called the Picket Wire Canyonlands, and it's home to the largest dinosaur track site in North America. Over 1,400 fossilized footprints stretch across a mile-long riverbed, left behind by giant plant eaters like brachiosaurs and meat eaters like Allosaurus over 150 million years ago. It's like a Jurassic traffic jam frozen in time. These tracks show where herds once moved across the mudflats, with predators following close behind. It's nature's version of a dinosaur documentary, but written in stone. You can only see the tracks when water levels are low, and getting there takes a long hike or a raft trip. But once you're there, it's as real as it gets. No CGI, just the actual path of giants. Fact 31. The world's largest organism might live here. Near Crested Butte, Keebler Pass might be hiding the ultimate biological overachiever, what could be the largest living organism on planet Earth. This isn't just a forest, it's potentially one massive, interconnected aspen clone stretching for miles, all sprouting from a single ancient root system. Scientists suspect this golden giant could dwarf Utah's famous Pando Grove, making it the heavyweight champion of living things. Think of it as nature's own underground internet, where thousands of individual trees are actually just branches of one massive organism that's been quietly expanding its real estate for millennia. Fact 30. Chinook snow eater winds. East of the Rockies, Colorado winters come with a built-in cheat code called Chinook winds. Warm, dry gusts that can turn a frozen wasteland into spring fever territory faster than you can say, "Where'd my snow go?" Like someone turning up nature's thermostat to its highest setting, this meteorological trickery frequently causes temperatures to rise by 30 degrees Fahrenheit or more in a single hour. Boulder residents recently witnessed this weather whiplash firsthand when temperatures rocketed from a chilly 28 degrees Fahrenheit to a balmy 57 degrees Fahrenheit in just 60 minutes. These snow eater winds don't mess around either, instantly vaporizing snowpack and making December afternoons feel suspiciously like May. Fact 29. World's largest dark sky reserve. In southern Colorado, the Sangre de Cristo Mountains in the San Luis Valley are earning a huge title. They're now home to the largest international dark sky reserve on Earth. This protected area covers 4,200 square miles of nearly untouched night sky. That means no bright city lights, no glowing billboards, just pure, natural darkness. It's not only great for stargazing, this darkness also helps protect nighttime animals like bats and deer, which rely on the night to survive and move safely. On a clear, moonless night in places like Alamosa, you don't need a telescope. You can see stars, planets, and even entire galaxies with just your eyes. It's one of the best places on the planet to look up and remember how big the universe really is. Fact 28. New Colorado Dinosaur, 2025. Colorado's ancient ground keeps serving up prehistoric surprises, proving that even 150 million years later, the state's dinosaurs are still making headlines. Recent paleontological detective work unveiled Enigma cursor Molly Bothwicki, a turkey-sized herbivore that once sprinted through Jurassic forests in what's now Moffat County. This speedy little plant muncher has been a mystery dinosaur for years until scientists finally cracked the case and gave it an official name. The discovery proves that Colorado's fossil-rich soil is a never-ending treasure chest. Just when you think all the big finds are behind us, another ancient resident pops up to remind us the Rocky Mountain State was once a buzzing dinosaur metropolis. Fact 27. Dino Fossil Bonanza. Here's another prehistoric mind-bender. Colorado isn't just home to new dinosaur discoveries. It's been paleontology's golden goose for over a century. The very first complete Stegosaurus skeleton was found here, along with fossils from 3 of the 4 largest dinosaurs ever discovered. And it doesn't stop there. Scientists have uncovered everything from T-Rex bones to massive palm tree fossils. Yep, ancient Colorado was once tropical, and even an 8-foot-long mammoth tusk. It's like the ground here is a giant prehistoric time capsule packed with ancient creatures just waiting to be found. For paleontologists, Colorado is a dream come true, a fossil hotspot where history is buried just beneath your hiking boots. Fact 26. Extreme temperatures. Colorado's weather doesn't do mild. It goes straight to the extremes. On one end, it hit a scorching 115 degrees Fahrenheit at John Martin Dam in July 2019. On the other, it dropped to a bone-chilling negative 61 degrees Fahrenheit in Maybell back in 1985. That's a mind-blowing 176-degree temperature swing. In other words, Colorado can be hot enough to fry an egg in summer and cold enough to freeze your eyelashes in winter, all in the same state. It's one of the only places where you might pack sunscreen and thermal gloves just in case. Fact 25. Mount Sepphoris's hidden volcano. Twin-peaked Mount Sepphoris near Carbondale is basically geology's ultimate tease. It looks like a classic volcano, acts like a volcano, but technically isn't one anymore. This 30-million-year-old mountain is actually the exposed guts of what was once a massive underground magma intrusion that swelled the Earth's crust from 10,000 feet below. Think of it as a volcanic ambition that got stuck in the pipeline. The magma chamber formed and cooled, but never got its big eruption moment. Millions of years of erosion have since stripped away Cyprus's once enormous top, leaving behind the cooled Pluton core, like a geological autopsy. It's essentially a volcano turned inside out, where instead of seeing lava flows, you're staring directly at ancient magma chamber walls that never got their explosive debut. Fact 24. Mount Soprus's vertical wall. Mount Sopris isn't your average mountain. It's a straight-up wall. It rises 6,400 feet above the Roaring Fork Valley in just 2.7 miles. That's an insanely steep climb. Like stacking 10 Empire State Buildings back to back and hiking straight up them with no elevator and way less oxygen. Very few places in the US have this kind of vertical rise over such a short distance. It's one of the steepest, toughest climbs in Colorado, and it doesn't ease up for a second. If you're into mountains that hit hard from the start, Mount Sopris delivers. Fact 23. Highest paved road in North America. The Mount Blue Sky Scenic Byway, Highway 5, holds the ultimate bragging rights as the highest paved road in all of North America, winding its way to a lung-busting 14,265 feet above sea level. This isn't simply a drive. It's a vertical expedition that climbs nearly 9,000 feet from the plains, basically taking you from the Great Plains to the edge of space in one scenic route. Along the way, you'll cruise through 5 distinct climate zones, watching the land transform from prairie grasslands to alpine tundra like you're time traveling through different planets. The cherry on top? You'll summit one of Colorado's 53 14ers without breaking a sweat. Well, except for the altitude-induced gasping. Fact 22. Colorado's sky-high real estate portfolio. Let's talk about Colorado's famous 14ers we just mentioned. These are mountain peaks that rise over 14,000 feet above sea level, and Colorado has a lot of them. Officially, there are 53, but if you count some of the smaller connected peaks, that number jumps to 58. Either way, that's more than any other state, by far. Climbing to the top of a Colorado 14er means you're higher than the tallest point in nearly every other US state. In fact, from some summits, you could literally look down on other states' highest peaks. And just for comparison, Alaska comes in second with 29 14ers. Still impressive, but Colorado owns the crown when it comes to sky-high mountains. Fact 21. Arickaree River, the true low point. For half a century, Colorado thought its lowest point was where the Arkansas River exits the state. But a high-precision survey in 2000 pulled a geographical gotcha. The true low point is actually the Arickaree River at the Kansas border, sitting at a measly 3,315 feet above sea level. This correction might seem like splitting hairs, but it perfectly captures Colorado's altitude obsession. Even the state's surveying mistakes happen thousands of feet above sea level. The real kicker? This lowest point in Colorado is, as you probably understand by now, still higher than the summit of many other states' highest peaks. Fact 20. Colorado's vertical border illusion. From a map, Colorado looks like a perfect rectangle, all straight lines and right angles. But here's the wild truth. It's not actually a rectangle, not even close. Colorado's borders were originally defined by Congress using lines of latitude and longitude, which sounds simple enough. But here's where it gets weird. Longitude lines naturally converge as they approach the poles, creating a slight trapezoid rather than a perfect rectangle. The difference is subtle, but real. Even weirder, starting in 1868, surveyors began making small deviations and corrections from the original latitude and longitude lines as they marked the actual borders on the ground. Over the decades, these tiny adjustments accumulated into something remarkable. Colorado now has 697 sides, making it technically a 697-sided polygon rather than a 4-sided rectangle. That means the rectangle state is actually a geographical shapeshifter, an optical illusion created by how we draw maps. Fact 19. 9,000 years of clay pioneers. Colorado's land doesn't just reach new heights, it holds layers of human history too. Take the paint mines, for example. Long before they became a hotspot for hikers and photographers, These colorful clay formations were a vital resource for Native American communities for nearly 9,000 years. Archaeologists have found evidence that indigenous tribes used these soft selenite clay here to make arrowheads and extract natural pigments for art and ceremonies. This wasn't a quick visit. It was a long-term operation, turning the land into a kind of ancient art supply store. In fact, that's how the paint mines got their name, from generations of people who saw these formations as not just beautiful, but useful. Fact 18. Mysterious Sand Dunes Crater. North of Great Sand Dunes National Park lies a perfectly round, 200-foot wide crater that has baffled scientists since the 1960s. At first, geologists thought it was just a hollow carved by wind. But wind doesn't make perfect circles with smooth, even rims. Nature usually isn't that tidy. Some locals say they've seen strange flashes in the sky long ago, hinting at a possible meteor strike. Others think it was caused by a rare sand boil, where pressurized groundwater explodes upward like a buried geyser. Whatever the cause, no one can say for sure. It's one of Colorado's strangest geological puzzles, a natural crater that refuses to give up its secrets. Fact 17. 1.08 billion year old Pikes Peak granite. That gorgeous pink granite forming Pikes Peak? It's been chilling there for a mind-boggling 1.08 billion years. That means it was already ancient before the first complex life even appeared on Earth. Compared to this, the Rocky Mountains are basically newborns, built on top of a foundation nearly a billion years older. And here's the wild part. Scientists think this granite might have once been part of a giant volcanic caldera near today's Lake George. Imagine a prehistoric supervolcano that made Yellowstone look small. That's the kind of power we're talking about. Fact 16. Pikes Peak is not a volcano. We get it. Look at Pikes Peak and your brain probably screams, volcano. And you're not alone. That perfectly pointy profile has fooled countless visitors into thinking they're staring at Colorado's version of Mount Fuji. But here's the truth. Pikes Peak is absolutely not a volcano. This geological trickster is actually the exposed heart of that ancient 1.08 billion year old batholith we just talked about. While volcanic mayhem was definitely happening in the area back then, the granite forming today's peak cooled slowly and peacefully underground like a geological slow cooker meal. Pikes Peak got its shape the hard way, through millions of years of wind, water, and ice carving away the softer surrounding rock. Nature's ultimate sculpture project, with erosion as the artist and patience as the medium. Fact 15. Largest flat top on Earth. Let us introduce you to Grand Mesa, the absolute unit of flat-topped mountains. This massive volcanic table stretches 40 miles long and towers 6,000 feet above the valley floor west of Grand Junction, earning it the title of largest flat-topped mountain on Earth. We're talking about 500 square miles of basalt-capped plateau. That's bigger than the entire city of Chicago, with a generous chunk of Indiana thrown in for good measure. This geological giant was born from late Miocene lava flows that created the ultimate natural landing strip. Fact 14. Mesa with 300 plus lakes. So, that massive flat-top mountain we just talked about? Well, it gets even cooler. Grand Mesa's enormous flat surface is dotted with over 300 stream-fed lakes, making it look like someone spilled a bag of blue marbles across a giant tabletop 10,000 feet in the sky. Many of these are man-made reservoirs that ranchers and resorts have cleverly created to tap into the mesa's abundant alpine waters for irrigation and world-class fishing. The result? Colorado's biggest mountain feels more like a huge flat island archipelago floating in the clouds. It's basically like the Swiss Alps had a baby with the Boundary Waters, and somehow it ended up in western Colorado. Fact 13. Upside Down Valley. Here's where Grand Mesa gets truly trippy. It's basically geology's version of flipping the script. Those massive lava flows didn't just create a mountain, they filled up an entire ancient valley. Fast forward millions of years, and the Colorado and Gunnison rivers have carved down roughly 5,000 feet into the surrounding land, leaving that old valley bottom, now perched high, as the mesa top. What was once the lowest ground is now the highest, a perfect example of topographic inversion. Fact 12. Pawnee Buttes, sandstone giants on the plains. In the middle of Nebraska and northeastern Colorado's Pawnee National Grassland, Two massive sandstone towers rise 300 feet straight out of absolutely nowhere. These oddballs look like someone copy-pasted a chunk of Utah's Red Rock country and plunked it down in a wheat field. The Pawnee Buttes are the stubborn survivors of an ancient eroded badland. Think of them as nature's skyscrapers that refuse to get demolished. Fact 11. Sleeping Giant. The Ogallala Aquifer under Pawnee. Those towering Pawnee Buttes aren't just pretty to look at. They're sitting on top of North America's largest freshwater aquifer, the mighty Ogallala. We're talking about a silent underground ocean holding trillions of gallons of water locked away in the same sandstone formations that create those buttes above. This hidden hydrological treasure was filled by ancient Rocky Mountain rains that slowly filtered through the rock over millions of years. Today, farmers across the Great Plains tap into this geological savings account, pumping liquid gold from a reservoir that stretches from South Dakota to Texas. Fact 10. Spanish Peaks, volcano spokes. While Pikes Peak shows off Colorado's ancient granite roots, the Spanish Peaks near Walsenburg reveals something totally different: the exposed heart of an old volcano. These twin peaks aren't typical mountains, they're volcanic stalks, which means they're the solidified cores of ancient magma chambers. But the real showstopper? Dozens of rock walls called dikes that radiate out from the peaks in a perfect starburst pattern. These dikes were once pathways for magma, like the veins of a living volcano. Over millions of years, softer rock eroded away, leaving behind this fossilized volcanic network. From the summit at 13,600 feet, you can literally stand at the center of this ancient system, with rocky spokes stretching out for miles in all directions. It's like Colorado's own natural X-ray of a long-extinct volcano. Fact 9. North Table Mountain Columns. Colorado's volcanic past isn't just hidden in the high country, it even shows up in the Denver suburbs. North Table Mountain in Golden stands out from the surrounding prairie and sandstone because it's made of actual volcanic rock. This flat-topped mountain holds 3 ancient lava flows stacked on top of each other, dating back about 60 million years. What makes it really special is how the lava cooled. It hardened so slowly that it cracked into near-perfect hexagonal columns, a rare feature called columnar jointing. It's the same kind of formation you see at Ireland's famous Giant's Causeway, but this one's got a Colorado address. Fact 8. Roberts Ranch Tire Graveyard. Back in the 1970s, someone had what seemed like a brilliant idea for fighting erosion on a massive northern Colorado ranch. Dump hundreds of thousands of old tires across a prairie. The Roberts Ranch became home to an estimated 300,000 tires scattered across 17,000 acres, in what has to be one of environmental planning's most absurd backfires. The tires didn't magically disappear as hoped. Instead, they created a surreal landscape that looks like a post-apocalyptic art installation. Decades later, following a $500,000 state grant, cleanup efforts are underway and pretty much done. But the sheer scale means this tire graveyard once dominated the scenery along Highway 287. Fact 7. Colorado once tried to frack natural gas with nukes. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Colorado became ground zero for one of the most bizarre experiments in American history: nuclear fracking. As part of Project Plowshare, the US government launched a Cold War experiment called Project Rulison. The goal? Use a nuclear bomb to fracture underground rock and release trapped natural gas. On September 10, 1969, a 40-kiloton nuke was detonated 8,400 feet beneath the Rocky Mountains near what is now Parachute, Colorado, more than twice as powerful as the Hiroshima bomb. And it worked, kind of. The blast did release natural gas, but the gas was heavily contaminated with tritium and other radioactive isotopes, making it completely unusable for commercial purposes. That didn't stop them from doubling down. In 1973, Project Rio Blanco detonated 3 33-kiloton nuclear devices simultaneously at different depths in the same area. But once again, the radioactive contamination made the gas worthless. Public outrage over radioactive contamination and the program's repeated failures eventually shut down the entire nuclear gas extraction experiment. To this day, drilling restrictions remain in place around both sites due to lingering radioactive contamination in the soil and groundwater. Fact 6. Bath Tube Reef. Just a short drive from North Table Mountain, red rocks takes Colorado's geology to a whole new level, one that's both beautiful and baffling. While most people know red rocks for its perfect concert acoustics, the real jaw-dropper is in the rock layers themselves. Behind the amphitheater, you'll find 1.7 billion-year-old metamorphic rocks sitting directly beneath 300 million-year-old sandstone. That means there's a 1.4 billion-year gap in the rock record, a geologic mystery called an unconformity. It's like opening a history book and jumping straight from chapter 2 to chapter 47, with everything in between just gone. This missing time is one of the largest gaps in Earth's known surface record, and at Red Rocks, it's literally visible right along a hiking trail. Fact 5. Emerald lakes and ghost trees. High in the Indian Peaks wilderness, the gorgeous Emerald and Brainerd lakes are classic glacial tarns, those perfect bowl-shaped lakes carved out by ancient ice. But these alpine beauties hide a winter secret that few people ever witness. When the worst of winter's ice finally breaks up, something magical and slightly eerie happens. Ghost trees rise from the depths. These are pale, skeletal remains of submerged willows that stand like underwater sentinels in the crystal-clear glacial water. This spooky spectacle only happens during that brief window when snowmelt partially fills the lakes, but the water remains gin clear. Fact 4. Gunnison's inch-per-century carver. If Red Rock shows us how much time can vanish, the Black Canyon of the Gunnison shows what time can build. At first glance, the Gunnison River looks calm, but it's one of the hardest working forces in all of Colorado. For the past 2.5 million years, it's been carving through solid rock at a rate of about 1 inch per century. That might sound slow, but over time it added up to something massive. The 2,250-foot deep painted wall. This canyon wasn't formed in a flash. It was sculpted grain by grain, year after year, by a river that never stops. Fact 3. Fossil footprints at Dinosaur Ridge. While everyone knows about Colorado's famous dinosaur bones, Dinosaur Ridge in Morrison holds an even cooler secret. Actual dinosaur footprints stomped into the rock 150 million years ago. Hundreds of track casts from both plant-eating ornithopods and meat-eating theropods dot this Front Range hillside, turning suburban Denver into a legitimate paleontological hotspot. Random scratches? Nope, we're talking about a prehistoric highway where multiple dinosaur species left their calling cards in what was once muddy shoreline. Fact 2. Coal and oil underneath. Beneath Colorado's seemingly innocent high plains lies an energy goldmine left over from when ancient seas covered the state. The Denver Basin is stuffed with buried Cretaceous seabed that's been cooking into oil for millions of years, like the Weld County Weir oil field, which taps into 30 million-year-old liquid dinosaur remains. Meanwhile, the Book Cliffs east of Grand Junction hide massive seams of Cretaceous coal that jump-started Colorado's early mining boom towns. Bonus fact, Carbondale, Colorado literally got its name from its coal deposits. Because, apparently, 19th century town naming committees believed in truth in advertising. Fact 1. Alpine radiocarbon record. Here's a mind-bending finale. Colorado's high-altitude trees are literally radioactive souvenirs from the Cold War. Scientists studying ancient bristlecone pines and peat bogs above 10,000 feet have discovered something wild. Layers of radioactive carbon-14, known as the bomb pulse, from 1960s atmospheric nuclear tests embedded right in the tree rings. This bomb pulse means that every old-growth tree in Colorado alpine zones carries a nuclear signature from when the world was busy testing atomic weapons in the atmosphere. It's like nature's own documentary film, with each tree ring recording not just rainfall and temperature, but also humanity's most explosive decade. So, the next time you're hiking through Colorado's pristine wilderness, remember, those natural mountain forests are actually walking history books that glow slightly in the dark. What about 50 wild facts about Florida you never knew?